I'm Lynne Quartermaine and I'm a coordinator for OUA at Curtin University. We have very, very large groups, up to 2,500 in a unit, and our aim was to try to create a sense of community and to get students to work together. We wanted to get the students into groups. So we organised that within their tutorial groups of 75. They were asked to form their own groups of 5, and then they were asked to set up a wiki. We had a particular wiki. It was in those days Etherpad, which has now been free sourced, and we are still using it. We're using the clone, which is called Type With Me. It's in real time. It's synchronous communication, which suited us very well. And in the group, they were writing an assignment about what teaching might be like in the 21st century, and they had a great deal of choice about how they could present this. To a great extent, they were left by themselves to complete this. We gave them links to various sorts of technologies which they could use. Some people used websites, some people prepared PowerPoints, some people chose simply to write an essay, some people perhaps did a magazine article. But whatever they chose, they covered the idea of what it would be like to teach in the 20th century. But the idea was they would communicate on the wiki. Then all this material was on the wiki, and they presented their assignment publicly within their group so everybody could have a look at it to assess each other. They were given a very, very detailed rubric. One rubric was for the tutor to mark the content, and the other rubric was for the students to actually assess each other. And it was to do with group connectivity and community, how well they had managed to communicate within the groups to get the job done. The idea of the wiki was that it would create a sense of fairness amongst them because we could actually track it. So we asked each student in the group to assess every individual in the group, and the tutor pulled all those together and looked at the comments that a particular student had made about each of his or her group, and from there we went to looking at what they had actually said. So if they said John Smith came on in day 1 and then he said hello, said he'd do this, but we never saw him again, the tutor could actually track that on the wiki because it was in real time, and we could actually track back and see what had happened in the group. This was very revealing indeed. So we could actually say to students, your peers have said that you actually didn't do anything in the group. Could you show us, in fact, any evidence to the contrary? Because we'd be very interested. And we could say to members of the group, you have done the work, you will get the marks, you will get the credit. People who haven't done the work and haven't contributed anything will not get any credit for it. And this was really something that reassured the students enormously. We had some feedback on the peer review, and it was pretty positive. Most people really, really enjoyed it, and they linked it to the time that they would in fact be in a classroom themselves, and they said it was very interesting to have a chance at using a rubric and marking their peers, and they appreciated the opportunity to be honest about how they work together as a group. Not many students didn't like it at all, but out of probably 1,500 students, 4 negative responses was very, very little. Most people really enjoyed it and felt it was a very fair and good process. So it was a very interesting exercise. I believe it was very successful. I believe students saw the value of working together as a group. We had an interesting piece of feedback from the students. 71% of them said they had either never heard of a wiki or never used a wiki before, and that at the end, 96% said they felt that they could teach somebody else how to use this technology effectively. So I was very pleased with that result. I think it's easy to implement. It works very well as an add-on technology. The students find it very, very easy to use. The advantage for tutors is that you can mark directly on the wiki. You don't actually have to go outside the wiki. If you want to make comments, you can go in there and it's instant feedback. We can use the wiki in other ways apart from group work and for peer assessment. So it's a very, very useful technology indeed, I feel.